Okay, everyone, Reverend619 here, and today we're going to be looking at one of the big boys, which is Heinrix. Heinrix as a executioner is absolutely insane. He can do up to 30k damage in a single hit, as you saw me do on the Defiler earlier, with the pylons up, mind you. There's a few choices that we can make for armor on him, but what's really important to really make this guy shine is obviously getting a chainsaw on him as early as possible, and then we upgrade it as soon as we can. Getting the Void Veteran boots, which you upgrade from the Pneumo boots, so your charges go from 1 AP to basically being 0 AP after every melee kill, and your charges will create more charges, probably going to get nerfed. This is where I like to put the Psycho's Breastplate, because when allies are using buffs and they're triggering perils, they can increase his psi rating. His psi rating increase doesn't do as much for him, so if you have a rogue trader psyker in the past that you want to use the breastplate, it's very okay to move that. I also move the Eye of Jaeus over if I can, and in those situations, when you move that over, you want the visors of inevitability and inevitable retribution. They're very good replacements. They're also what I would go for him if that was taken. And when it comes to medium armor, you can give him one of the better like light armors or possibly something else. But basically, you need something to have him to have fairly decent armor, because he needs armor to be able to survive his own fire damage. So yeah, keep that in mind. Some of the important items that you can put on him, I like to have Psi Focus on there. You could put on Star Mist Scarf if you want him to have more Psi rating. Obviously, the version where you've got IFJs, you don't need that. Psi Focus can add actually a lot of warp damage. You can get about 500 per proc of the chainsaw once you're fully buffed up. So that's also very useful and very powerful to have on him. Let's just pop those back on. Another good item on him, Hand of Offense, and that can give your psi rating to melee damage. If you're not using that, you've obviously got stuff like the Anatomist's Tome, which can increase stuff on there. Anatomy Tome, there it is, which will also up his Medicae. You could use Voidboy's Pride, but I much prefer to get Warp Surge Approach to have more attacks, because sometimes if you can't reach things, you're going to be wanting to blast off stuff like Molten Beam, your Firestorms, and also it's so you can attack after igniting yourself, because otherwise you can only charge, which is why early game we buff ourselves when we charge. Another little trick I've got on him is Bloody Pact. We can use this to generate more AP by damaging ourselves. If we have stratagems that stop us from generating wounds and stuff like that, that's quite useful. If not, you can pop the med packs on him. But essentially you can create infinite AP on him as long as you're killing, because your kills fully regenerate your health. And then the Temporis Carapace Elite Backpack changes him from having 4 attacks to 7, so that this gives him plus 3 more attacks on this, because it increases the strike count. I know it says 5 there, but it goes up to 7 with the backpack. It's pretty nutty. This is probably one of the highest damaging builds that we've got, and we're going to go in and I'll go through all the talents and stuff and all the options, but you know, this bad boy, whilst he's not like a Blade Dance Executioner where that he's never going to get hit. He can get hit and he can be killed because he's not as tough as he could be, but he will have your highest damage output possibilities. So let's get under the hood and talk about why Heinrix is so goated. So, starting as a warrior, we pick up Heinrix level 5, who already has defense maneuvers. There's not much we can do about this, but it will increase his dodge whenever he takes damage up to 3 times. So, it can stop him getting mowed down, or if he's in heavy armor, do absolutely nothing for you. I kind of don't like that one there. I'd much prefer that be rigorous training or something. But what we do as we go into these early levels is we pick up rigorous training, so we keep our movement when we charge. We get our weapon skill, which is going to be very important to actually hit. We go into Pyromancy early on, because this unlocks a lot of the really strong talents that we need for this build. We start getting into Medicae, because we're going to need that for our Executioner levels. Also, we pick up weapon skills, Psych Minoris, increase the Psi rating, more Medicae. We take Impertus, because we're going to be doing a lot of charges on this build, so this will increase the damage dealt by our charges as we go. We get Daring Breach Upgrade 2, so this is when we use Daring Breach that we can keep movement. You're going to have to decide between what's going to be more beneficial, Carnival's Misery or Daring Breach, as you're doing encounter by encounter. Ramming speed to increase our charge distance. That plus 3 does help quite a lot. We pick up some strength here. We then get Orchestrate Flames. This is going to be the main thing. You're not really going to start using this until you have Body of Flames, but we pick it up at this level, around level 11. So you can start using it early on. but it's normally, I don't normally use it till the Executioner levels, but it will up your damage overall, and it's quite useful with his early Force Sword. We then increase our toughness, get athletics, and then we get relentless blaze. So this is normally when I start using Orchestrate Flame. Basically, when you're burning, you get +1 side rating, your resolve is increased by 2, and damage from fire no longer reduces momentum. I then go into athletics. You can go into athletics or warp, depends what your party really needs. We pick up some willpower, we get our Psych Endurance, and then we get the final upgrade, Daring Breach, which is we get our strength bonus divided by 2 added to all of our melee attacks. With buffs, that goes up quite high. Basically, the warrior is all about getting those pyromancy basic abilities and learning to charge, which we're going to be using a lot on Executioner. And as soon as we can pick up a chainsaw, chainsaw in DLC, we can really start to upgrade it. We go into Executioner because we get all the sand stuff, Force Repentance, Scourge and Strikes, and Where It Hurts. This means that our attacks will add bleeding, and when we put on dots, it will proc them immediately. This works with critical hits on Dogmatic 2, and it also works with Orchestrate Flame. We then get Firestorm. This is very, very good because you can use Firestorm with Where It Hurts to do some massive procs. It will cause it to proc ignite 3 times on each enemy. And you can use other ways to heal yourself with some later talents. We get Anatomy Expert, so our Medicaid will actually outpace toughness, what you can for health, so it's always good. We pick Carnival of Misery, very good, we don't start using it at this point. More weapon score, and then we get Sparks of Greater Flame. This allows our dots to critically hit. You want to get both of them because they stack together, but we start off with Sparks first. We then get Inflame. Inflame is going to be our win tool as soon as we get the upgrades for Carnival of Misery. Invigorating Screams, this is what will allow us to heal whenever we deal damage from dots. We regain toughness bonus divided by 2 wounds. Obviously, when we get buffs, that increases. We can buff ourselves because we are a Biomancer. Medicaid for more health, Strength for more damage. We then get Psychoterminus to up our psi rating. We then get Acute Pain, so our dot damage is increased by 100% with it first procs, more strength, more Medicaid, and then we get Carnival of Misery 3. This is the most important primer in the goddamn game to set the bombs. All enemies in combat immediately suffer bleeding, burning, and toxin. The level of each of this effect is equal to character 10. Force Repentance will proc this. Cataclysm will then give you 3% damage for every enemy in combat, and then you can start pressing Inflame, and it will damage everything, and it will also preload dots onto everything, so then when you hit them with Where It Hurts, they explode. Master of Torture, 5% more damage to each target for each type of damage over time, so that's 15% damage buff, pretty good. Willpower, because we are using some of our psych abilities. I then pick up Shield of the Emperor. We need this because we are pretty squishy being heavy armored, so this will help out quite a bit. We then get Biophysical Distortion. This doesn't stack like Cry weapons, but we need it to be able to get that 3rd damage type in there, and it can do some big damage when it does hit. We then get All-Encompassing Agony. When we have all 3 dots on, we deal 30% more damage. We then get some Willpower, some Athletics, Deep Laceration, so we increase the bleeding that we inflict, which is pretty nice. More Willpower, and then Psycho Extremis, and then we get the ability that all of our dots heal us, meaning our own dots when we're spamming Inflame will heal us rather than kill us. This is probably one of the highest damaging class builds in the game. Like I showed earlier, you can do 30k hits onto it. I've one-shot the Shard, I've one-shotted Urlon Daybreak in previous videos. As we start going into Exemplar levels, which is what you'll do before Act 3 now because of the DLC, we get Eager for Battle because this is a very AP-hungry class to set up. We get Fire Within. Every time you kill 8 things or do 8 criticals to different things, you get a 0 AP attack. This is very good for spamming extra attacks, molten beams, and all sorts of things. More Medicaid means more health. We then get Slam of Heroes, so when heroic actions happen, we get more psi rating. Weapon skill, we get Heavy Armor Proficiency, because around Act 4 is when you're going to be starting to be able to use Psycho's Breastplate. You can take this earlier if you want it earlier, but for me, this is where I felt to do it. You can actually delay taking some of your psi rating increases if you want to get Heavy Armor earlier. We then get Hammer of the Emperor, Medicaid. Peak Condition, so our maximum health increases our strength. Because of our Medicaid so high, our strength gets a big boost. Fragile Playthings, so we do armor reduction when we put on dots. We then get weapon score, Crowd Kill. This will imply basically put strength damage on our area stuff. It also applies to Psycho abilities. We then get Molten Beam, not as important on this build as it can be on other builds, but it's still pretty good to strip armor and do damage from range where you can't get there. But Hammer of the Emperor with Where It Hurts, that's where your big damage hits are going to be coming from. Willpower, melting armor, yep, so every time we deal damage we reduce it because we can attack quite a bit, and we do multi-attack as well. Backdraft, so our psychic powers, we don't need this as early, but yeah, it's pretty good because when we do stuff like Firestorm we get multiple procs of it and then more healing. My older builds I used to take it earlier, we don't really need to. We then get Cataclysm, all damage dealt by the character increased by 3% until the end of combat for every new enemy damage dealt this combat. Yeah, when you use the Carnival of Misery, this will proc everything on everything. We then get some AP increase, easy targets, so we increase our critical damage against targets not armed with melee weapons. Athletics, and then we get Desolation. The warrior's melee attacks deal additional 5 damage to enemies that have no allies nearby. It's based on our agility, so this is why we boost it up a little bit through some of our levels. But yeah, no, it's going to hurt. Lord Xenos is just what I'm taking because I had nothing else to take, and he does get a boost to Xenos from some of his base stuff. We then Wreck and Weakness, damage up by executions, damage over time, effects increased by 5% for every 10% penalty to armor. It's by a Medicaid score. Yeah, they're going to be missing a lot of armor, so it does quite a bit. We then get some agility, we get some more Xenos. We then get degraded defense. Whenever the character deals damage, half of that then gets applied for more damage in the end. So if you do 1,000 damage, the next hit's going to do an extra 500, so on and so forth. Edge of Dawn, enemies next to us take 10% more damage. Does it hurt? All damage over time inflicts basically we increase our crit chance for that. And then we get some more Lord Xenos. Now, I've not finished leveling him on this build, but we have played this multiple times. We then take Corpus Conversion. Yeah, that's really nasty, really bugged. Every time you target an ally with a buff, you just get 2 psi rating. It's not meant to work like that, but yeah, you can stack your psi rating during the buff phase like crazy and then go off and attack things. Deterioration, whenever the effect applied by the psych increases the damage suffered by the target, this effect is increased by half. So, not sure if this is working without Enfeeble. More testing needs to be done on that. Yeah, but for my next ability, I grab Reckless Abandon because basically we sacrifice health and we turn it into damage percentage. So yeah, it's a free damage boost. We then get more strength. I take Combat Meditation because whilst you don't have a ranged weapon, it increases your willpower, so it's just extra 3 base damage to all of your psycho abilities, so that's pretty good. And Strange Vitality, the reason I take this is every time that there are psi powers, it increases toughness. We're not using toughness, but that means it will actually increase our healing, so it's pretty good for that. But that will complete the Heinrix build, and yeah, no, this guy is an absolute monster. Like I was showing at the start there, you're doing up to 30k hits when you set up correctly. He'll be the highest damage dealer in your party. If you use Sam Bright as a correct carry and have everyone buff him up, yeah, trivialize the game. GG. Well, I hope you have fun with that. Congratulations. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, this is one half of the Super Chainsaw Bros, and yeah, they are absolutely insane. I throw on the Executioner's Gauntlets because that also helps with the damage here. Like I said, we have a few options that you change that. Everything's going to be on the spreadsheet for the written guides, as well as all the different options that you can pick different skills for, and the different itemization choices so you can level him up as you go through. Thanks all. Till next time, Revan out.
Navigators are feared.
The Emperor is on our side. I feel power surging. For the throne's glory. Naturally.
Failed me.
Everyone, step aside. But of course, I'm done with this one. Not sanctioned to do this. I won't object. Be gone. For the throne's your pure reckoning is due. Let's see to it. Be gone. But of course, your pure reckoning is due. I won't object. Be gone. Alas, no. I'll put my psychic abilities to use. No. I won't object. I'm done with this one. Let's see to it. I need a foothold. But of course, I'm done with this one.
Will not falter. I embrace death without regret.
Let's see to it.